we've already seen a scheme, Google Street View, which was supposed to be taking photographs of people's houses, admittedly against their will, but it was a scheme taking photographs allegedly to help people find directions a bit better. Now we find out the Street View program has captured information about passwords, email addresses, credit card numbers. And I think the first reaction would be, what's next to come? What next are we going to find out that this technology's managed to get from people?
Well, let's be a bit more specific. I mean, Google say that the information they garnered was from Wi-Fi's which didn't have a password protection scheme on them. And they said that they didn't realise they were doing it and that the information's been dumped into some sort of a database which they are going to delete. And they say it's not going to happen again. So the impression they're giving is that they're mindful of these concerns.
Yes, I think obviously Google will be extremely embarrassed by this breach of privacy, and I think obviously they should take, and I believe will take, urgent steps to delete this information. But I think more broadly than that, it does raise really shows a very important sign to members of the public that if they do have Wi-Fi internet connections, if they do have that form of internet access, it really is very important for them to put a password on their networks. That not only stops organisations like Google accidentally harvesting information from them, but also protects them against unscrupulous people who may try and tap into their network to get hold of, for example, credit card numbers or other sensitive personal information.
So are you more concerned about deliberate targeting and theft of people's private information, or are you just concerned that an organisation like Google and the kind of technology it embraces down the line could accidentally open a Pandora's box where everyone can feast on this information without it ever being intended to be put into the public domain?
I think data security has obviously got to be an extremely important concern. And I think we've seen many large companies, even some of the largest companies in the world over the last few months, losing very sensitive personal information about people's bank accounts, about their personal statuses, personal information, and so on. But I think it raises a more important issue, and that's really about, members of the public being aware about what kind of information Google does hold about them. I'm sure there are many members of the public out there at the moment who don't know that their house is likely to be on the Google Street View facility. Many members of the public who don't know how to remove their information from that, just as 250,000 people in Germany have done. I think Google needs to make very clear to members of the public exactly what kind of information they do hold on them and how they can have that removed from their databases.
I think in the past few years, everyone's noticed that they commit more of their personal information online, an increasing amount recently, and without really questioning it. Do you think that the technology is moving too fast for us, that we're being led down a path that we aren't really that sure about where it's going yet?
I do. I think there's many members of the public who think that because they're accessing the internet, in the privacy of their own home, because they're using, mobile phone applications, for example, on their own mobile phones, they think that's private. They think that's not open to review by others. I think the simple message has to be, if you don't want your phone number shared, don't put it on the internet. If you don't want your employer to see, perhaps uncompromising photographs of you, don't upload them to websites like Facebook. The internet is not a private space.